I wanted to test how it would work casting forged carbon fiber with all the fine details in this anatomical heart mold. It's made of silicone, so the epoxy will release, but it's still a good idea to spray in some release agent and brush that into all the crevices. I prefer to measure out parts A and B by weight rather than by volume because it's more precise. The first red dye I added is translucent and didn't look great by itself, so I added a few drops of an opaque red and then also some dark blue to make a vivid, semi-transparent, deep red color. I portioned out some chopped carbon fiber because this is going to get messy, and I didn't want to contaminate the whole bag with resin from my gloves. I pressed the chopped pieces into the resin and down into the details of the mold, not stirring because I didn't want to break up the defined chunks of fibers, but gently agitating the mixture just enough to ensure there were no dry spots. After filling up the bottom of the mold with carbon fiber and epoxy, I added a rock to the center. This was from a National Geographic Natural Specimen Geode kit, so I was hopeful that there would actually be crystals inside. After filling the mold nearly to the top, I added a final pool of resin to take up the remaining space and soak in to fill any voids. I cured the mold in my pressure pot at about 60 psi. It's 3 days later now, so it's time to let out some air and see how everything went. See the red in the spots where there's less carbon. But boy, that was rough getting it out. I was impressed with the level of detail that was captured from the mold. The forged carbon fiber pattern came through clearly, and the red resin provided a beautiful contrast to the dark carbon. The bottom was uneven, so I flattened that on my belt sander until the heart stood stable and straight. At first, I removed the guard from my wet saw to get clear access to the blade.
Kind of messy. Hopefully that helps.
But it was throwing so much water onto my face shield that I couldn't see, so I reinstalled the guard.
Really messy. Making progress though. It's mostly cut through. I just gotta figure out how to cut the last bit because the saw is too shallow. Yeah, it's just a little strip left in there. Can't quite reach.
I didn't have the right tool to cut through the last strip of material after slicing as deeply as this saw could reach.
A little wide.
But I used the chisel I had and made it work.
Okay, that's cool. We'll sand it up.
Properly cured carbon fiber sands easily, but the geode in the center was not impressed by my belt sander. I got the surface smooth enough to showcase the beautiful materials. Wiping the parts with alcohol didn't help much, so I scrubbed each piece with soapy water and a toothbrush to remove all of the dust. To seal the cut surfaces, I spread a thin layer of epoxy, then wiped most of it off with a paper towel. This finishing technique retains the textures and raw beauty rather than burying everything under a thick coat of resin. After that cured, I wanted to add a little more glossiness and UV protection. I considered adding a clear coat, but I didn't want a thick buildup. Plus, when spraying clear, there's always the potential for introducing blemishes like fisheye and dust particles. Instead, I tried Blacktail Studios N3 Nano coating. It was an experiment since this is marketed for use on wooden furniture, but I figured it should work since Cam uses it over both wood and resin on his river tables. I applied 2 coats each of the hard coat and top coat. It did exactly what I hoped, boosting the sheen without adding a thick layer of material. With the amount of material removed by the curve of the blade, the pieces will never fit back together perfectly, but the loss was worth it because if the heart had never been cut open, no one would know the beauty inside.